Ilham Heydar Oglu Aliyev is the President of Azerbaijan, since 2003. He also functions as the chairman of the new Azerbaijan Party and the head of the National Olympic Committee. Apart from his native Azerbaijani, he speaks English, French, Russian, and Turkish. Ilham Aliyev is the son of Heydar Aliyev, who was Azerbaijan's president from 1993 to 2003. Ilham Aliyev's image remains largely controversial. He has been criticized for his authoritarian rule and sometimes described as the head of corruption in Europe by analysts and political commentators. Aliyev's government has been listed as one of the most corrupt in Europe by Transparency International. In 2009, following his re-election as president, Aliyev passed a referendum which removed the presidential consecutive term limit, thereby allowing him to run for president as many times as he wishes. Opposition claimed this to be a violation of the Azerbaijani constitution and the European Convention on Human Rights. In 2013, Ilham Aliyev faced criticism from the United States and Amnesty International for election irregularities along with crackdowns against journalists and opposition activists, including the jailing of election monitors. Early life: Aliyev was born in Baku. In 1977, Aliyev entered the Moscow State Institute of International Relations and in 1982 continued his education as a postgraduate. In 1985 he received a PhD degree in history. From 1985 to 1990 Aliyev lectured at MSUIR. Political career: early years: in May or June 1994, Ilham Aliyev was appointed vice president of the State Oil Company of Azerbaijan. He participated as one of the key figures during the negotiations between Azerbaijani government and Western oil companies during the conclusion of new contracts now known as Contract of the Century. The following year Aliyev was elected to the National Assembly of Azerbaijan and later became president of the National Olympic Committee and head of the Azerbaijan delegation to the Council of Europe. In August 2003, 2 months prior to the presidential elections, he was appointed prime minister. In October, Heydar Aliyev, suffering failing health, stepped down as president. 2003 election. The official results of the October 15, 2003, elections gave victory to Ilham Aliyev, who earned 76.84% of the votes. However, the domestic opposition refused to accept the results and staged mass protests. The protests were due to alleged corruption and staging of elections. The elections received harsh criticism from the international community, with many observers noting that they fell short of international standards and were accompanied by voter intimidation, unequal campaign opportunities for the candidates, and widespread violations of the electoral laws and process. The OSCE International Election Observation Mission noted a number of irregularities in the counting and tabulation. Human Rights Watch complained that Aliyev's election campaign had been supported by government resources and that the Central Election Commission and local election commissions had been stacked with its supporters, while local non-governmental organizations had been banned from monitoring the vote. According to Freedom House, the opposition failed to appreciate the extent of popularity to which Ilham Aliyev was entitled. In fact, anti-government parties wrongly assumed that the negative view of Aliyev, which they were so firmly convinced of, would be shared by general public, which did prove to be the mistake. Opposition members and human rights activists complain that during Aliyev's presidency the human rights situation has not improved. Opposition mass meetings remained banned or were allowed to be held in remote parts of Baku, thus aiming at demoralizing and making it difficult for supporters of opposition to reach there, and the government has continued to pressure the opposition and independent press. In March 2005, under continued pressure from the international community, especially the Council of Europe, Aliyev released from prison many prominent members of the opposition, arrested during protests against the way the October 2003 election was conducted. In 2010, WikiLeaks uncovered a diplomatic cable dispatched by the U.S. Embassy in the Republic of Azerbaijan, part of the cache of documents obtained by the WikiLeaks website, that explicitly compared Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev to a mafia crime boss, leaving many to wonder if his government was actually democratic and whether people truthfully believed that Azerbaijan does not repress minority populations. A number of groups have also complained to the Commission on Human Rights for the purpose of adopting a resolution, which urges Azerbaijan to guarantee the preservation of the cultural, religious and national identity of the Talysh people in light of repeated claims of repression. On March 26, 2005, Aliyev was officially elected as the ruling New Azerbaijan Party chairman. The opposition denounced this as a violation of state laws, because according to the law on political parties, the president should have no party affiliation. In April 2006, President Aliyev made a state visit to Washington, D.C. It was a remarkably successful trip, at least in terms of image. Speaking at a public forum sponsored by the prestigious Council on Foreign Relations, Aliyev discussed oil, economic development, and democracy with an audience of reporters and others. The visit was capped with a private meeting in the White House with President George W. Bush, who told reporters that their discussion was really interesting, although he also said the meeting was candid, sometimes a code word for tense. Opposition groups said that an official meeting with President Bush sent an inappropriate signal that the violence and intimidation of the 2005 parliamentary election was now a closed matter. 2008 election: Ilham Aliyev was re-elected in 2008 with 87% of the polls, while opposition parties boycotted the elections. In a constitutional referendum in 2009, term limits for the presidency were abolished and freedom of the press was restricted. The 2010 parliamentary elections produced a parliament completely loyal to Aliyev. For the first time in Azerbaijani history, not a single candidate from the main opposition Azerbaijan Popular Front or Musavat parties was elected. The Economist subsequently scored Azerbaijan as an authoritarian regime, at 140th place out of 167, in its 2011 Democracy Index. Repeated protests were staged against Aliyev's rule in 2011, calling for more democracy and the ouster of the government. Aliyev has responded by ordering a security crackdown, using force to crush attempts at revolt in Baku. Officials loyal to the president have dismissed protesters' comparison of Azerbaijan to other countries considered to be part of the same revolutionary wave that has rocked North Africa and Western Asia since December 2010, and Aliyev has rejected the precedent set by leaders in Armenia, Oman, Jordan, and other affected states by refusing to make concessions. Well over 400 Azerbaijanis have been arrested since protests began in March 2011. Opposition leaders, including Musavat's Isagumbar, have vowed to continue demonstrating, although police have encountered little difficulty in stopping protests almost as soon as they begin. As president, Aliyev earns a salary of close to $230,000 a year. Amnesty International in its media briefing of 2012 reported that the crackdown on the free speech has intensified in recent years. The report highlighted that in Azerbaijan, people who exercise this fundamental right, freedom of speech to criticize President Ilham Aliyev, his family or government, risk being threatened, attacked or imprisoned whether they do so on or offline. 2013 election: the presidential elections were held on October 9, 2013. Aliyev won with 85% of the vote, securing a third five-year term. Most of the international observers found the elections mainly free and fair, but a day before voting began, a smartphone application run by the Central Election Commission showed Aliyev winning the election with 72.76% of the vote, suggesting that the election results were prefabricated. Azerbaijani officials claimed the results were those of the 2008 election, yet the candidates listed were from the 2013 ballot. Aliyev's main rivals in the election were Jamal Hasanli and Iqbal Argazade. Controversies: Ramil Safarov repatriation. In 2012, Aliyev convinced the government of Hungary to transfer convicted murderer Ramil Safarov to Azerbaijan to complete the rest of his prison term. While attending a NATO-sponsored English-language course in Hungary, Safarov had murdered an Armenian lieutenant who was also taking the course, Gurgen Margarian, while Margarian was asleep. Safarov had been tried and sentenced to life imprisonment in Hungary. However, after being extradited to Azerbaijan, Safarov received a hero's welcome. He was promoted to the rank of major, and given an apartment and over 8 years of back pay, covering the time he had spent in jail. Statements about Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh. Aliyev has been cited as calling all Armenian people in the entire world the enemies of Azerbaijan, and as regularly threatening to take over the disputed region of Nagorno-Karabakh and the entire Armenian Republic through military force. In 2008, Aliyev declared that OE Nagorno-Karabakh will never be independent. The position is backed by international mediators as well. Armenia has to accept the reality, and that in 1918, Yerevan was granted to the Armenians. It was a great mistake. The Khanate of Yerevan was the Azeri territory, the Armenians were guests there. Corruption. In 2012, the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project named Ilham Aliyev Person of the Year after well-documented evidence revealed that his family has secret ownership stakes in the counter-unregistered trademark's largest businesses including bank, construction companies, gold mines and phone companies. According to ICIJ's latest report, Aliyev's family has been a shareholder of big offshore companies. As reported by The Washington Post and Mail Online, Aliyev's two daughters share a property portfolio of about £50 million across Dubai, Paris and London, and Aliyev's 11-year-old son in Dubai owns 9 waterfront mansions with a total price of about $44 million or roughly 10,000 years' worth of salary for the average citizen of Azerbaijan. Personal life. Ilham Aliyev married Mihriban Aliyeva in Baku on December 22, 1983. They have 3 children, Layla, Arzu and Heydar. Public image. Aliyev's photo is shown in the final frames of Borat, Cultural Learnings of America for Make Benefit Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan, implying misleadingly that he is the president of Borat's fictionalized Kazakhstan. On November 21, 2009, Aliyev was included in the book 500 Most Influential Muslims of World. On February 22, 2012, American television channel CNBC aired the documentary Filthy Rich, which explored Aliyev unregistered trademark's family's real estate holdings abroad. Honors and medals. National honors and medals. Azerbaijan Heydar Aliyev Order, a degree. Azerbaijan Order of Sheikhul Islam, a degree. Foreign honors. A Romania Order of the Star of Romania, a degree. A Saudi Arabia Order of Abdulaziz Al Saud, a degree. A Georgia Order of Honor of Georgia, a degree. A France Grand Cross of the Legion of Honor, a degree. A Poland Order of Merit of the Republic of Poland, a degree. A Ukraine First Class of the Order of Prince Yaroslav the Wise, a Kuwait Order of Mubarak the Great, a degree. A Greece Gold Medal of the Hellenic Republic, a degree. A Latvia Knight Grand Cross of the Order of the 3 Stars, a degree. A Romania Grand Cross of Faithful Service, a degree. A Tajikistan Order of a degree. Smoilai Solmani, a degree. A Turkey First Class of the Order of State of Republic of Turkey. A Ukraine Order of Liberty. International organizations. A CIS Medal for Distinction and Protection of CIS State Borders and Badge for Strengthening of Border Cooperation. A degree. Others. A Turkey a degree. Sondawi Ramaka plus or minus Prize for International Relations for Peace, a degree. A Russia Prepodobny Sergei Rodinitsky First Degree Order of Russian Orthodox Church, a degree. International Military Sports Council a Grand Cordon Order of Merit, a degree. Honorary degrees. See also: Politics of Azerbaijan, Presidential Administration. References. External links. Official Azerbaijan President website, official YouTube channel of the President of Azerbaijan, BBC profile, Ilham Aliyev, political portrait of Ilham Aliyev, speeches, statements, interviews, declarations of the Azerbaijan Republic President Ilham Aliyev and oil diplomacy of Azerbaijan.